Hello, everybody, once again. Thank you so much for joining us today for a special session on mastering the SATs. I hope that you're doing great, and I'm really thrilled to see all of you with us today. So, as some of you may already know, my name is Victoria, and I'm, of course, the outreach coordinator for the Education USA network here in Ukraine. As the official source on US higher education, we of course offer accurate, comprehensive, and unbiased information about opportunities to study at accredited colleges and universities in the United States. And we, of course, understand that the process of applying to US universities is quite different from that in Ukraine. So we're here to help you and support you every step of the process, answering questions, of course, from beginning to end. And today I'm really excited to dive deeper into the subject of how to best prepare for the SATs for US admission. If you're planning to apply to the United States or want to be really well prepared to take standardized tests, then today's webinar is for you. You will learn how you should start preparing for the test to get the best score possible and why does this score matter. It is my pleasure to welcome our lovely guest speaker, College Board Representative Matthew Chivanek, International Director for Middle East and North Africa, who will speak today about how to increase your chances of success on the exam. Before we get started, I would just like to encourage all of you to stay active today. We would love to hear from you and get your input on how you're preparing, on what have you learned today that you maybe didn't know about before. I'll of course be monitoring all of the questions to make sure we get to all of them and do not miss a single one. Matthew, it's lovely to have you here with us today. The floor is yours. Please take it away.
Thank you so much. Let me just share my screen. Where'd it go? I'm really happy to be here with you guys. I appreciate you guys coming today. We had to reschedule this, and I'm happy to be back. And I've got a lot of stuff to share with you today. You know, a lot of students are preparing for the digital SAT all over the world, and they want to know the best way to be able to do it. And there's all kinds of resources and places that you can go to. The College Board is the actual organization that creates the test, and I work directly for the College Board. So this is a pretty direct way to actually hear from, as we say in English, the horse's mouth, exactly how this test works and what it is that you should do in order to prepare for it. So the number one person that you should be listening to and gathering advice from in order to practice and be good at this test, the true expert, are, of course, your teachers at school. We are teaching you, we are testing you on the digital SAT, things that you should be learning in high school. And we want to make sure that you're doing well on those skills and that they're the right skills for college. So there's no mystery. There's nothing here that hasn't been taught to you in high school. This should all be things that are covered in your algebra class, in your English language and literature class. That's the best resource to go to. And the second best resource to go to is all of the free materials that we have created and provided for students online. So I'm going to be able to take you through them and show you all of them today, both how to practice the actual digital test environment to see what it looks like when you actually go in there, and then some of the online resources that you can use to both take practice tests, review your answers, and then actually drill down and really build up your skills so that you can master this SAT and feel very confident and ready for when you take it. A couple things that I want to stress at the beginning. One, the best practice in the world for this exam is free. The most accurate and the closest is available to anybody. You should be able to have no boundaries to it. The best place that you can study this test is for free because we want to give everybody the same opportunity. Second, that very much depends on how much you are practicing. Getting comfortable with this, the time that you spend online really does make a difference. The more time that you can spend going into these things and using these free resources that we've given you, the better. And the third point I really want to make today is that there's a difference between taking a bunch of practice tests and a bunch of questions and thinking that if you can take 20 tests, you're going to somehow be better at this test. That's what we call rote practice or rote learning. And I want to get you away from thinking that way. I want you instead to think analytically. And what I mean by that is as you're preparing for this test, you're going to get questions wrong. You're going to get questions wrong on the reading and writing section. You're going to get questions on the mathematics section. Rather than just looking at the specific question, why you got it right or wrong, I want you to think the bigger picture. What kind of skill did this question ask me? What have I not yet learned or understood deeply that's going to allow me to answer this question correctly? I'm going to put a name to that question, to that issue or that subject that you don't understand. You're going to learn it and you're going to understand it. You're going to understand all of its parts. You're going to understand why it's important and why it interacts with other things in math. So to give you one example, for the longest time when I was learning algebra, and we had graphs, and we learned the slope of a line, y equals mx plus b, and there would be a line on the graph. I was doing it, I was learning it, no problem. I was getting, whatever normal grades in high school. But honestly, I had no idea what we were doing. Why are we putting lines on this graph? What is going on? What is the purpose of this? Why is this important and something for me to learn? One day when I was sitting in an economics classroom many years later, I had an epiphany. Oh, this is a visual way to show the relationship between two different things. Oh, and it completely changed my understanding of what it was I was doing. And more importantly, it made me much better at plotting linear equations. So I want you to be able to have these epiphanies when you're going into this section, when you're going through your answers here. When you look at the math or the English section, I want you to just go, oh, I got this question right. Oh, it's actually 3 and it was 3 instead of 4. Okay, I've got to do better at this time. No, I want you to think about what you know and what you don't know and your understanding, and to really think at what we call the meta level. Like, what is it that I need to know? What is it that I don't understand? Why did I get this question wrong? Not just because the answer was incorrect, but what concept was I missing? I want you to approach about it and think it that way. So I'm going to try to kind of show you a little bit today about how exactly that would work and how you take that when you go through the practice. But first things first, let's just go a little bit into this test, give you a couple of the details. Not all this stuff is going to be relevant to you. I'm going to just scan through a lot of this stuff really, really quickly. A lot of it emphasizes the fact that this new digital version of the test is much easier. It's also a lot safer. So there's no answer sharing because everyone gets a unique test because it's done digitally. Everyone takes it at the same time, and you don't have to worry about packaging things up. And the digital SAT, the new version of it, you take it on your own laptop or tablet, which I think you guys are already familiar with, which is fantastic because this is going to make this very comfortable to you. You're not going to a computer lab and using a computer that you've never been on before. No, you're going to be sitting on the computer that you use every day for school, or the one that your family has at home. It's going to be very, very comfortable for you, and you're actually going to be able to practice for the exam using the same exact app on your tablet or your laptop that you're going to actually take the test itself on. So there's no transition, there's no difference. It's the exact same experience. The only difference is that you're taking it in a test center. You're going to a classroom or to a school to actually sit and take this test. But besides that, it's going to be the exact same experience. And there's a wider range of topics. So students ask me all the time, I want to practice for the reading and writing section. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm learning English. So what kind of texts should I be reading? Should I just be reading a bunch of questions on the reading and writing section of the SAT? The answer is no. We are going to ask you on the SAT now questions about everything, about science, about politics, about poetry, about current events, about memoir. We can ask you about anything written in the English language that would be a text that you would see when you went to college. So one of the things that you really want to do is read a wide range of topics, because there are going to be a wide range of topics on the SAT. And I can show you some examples of what are the sort of like topics that are going to be there. But there is science, there is meteorology, there is chemistry, there is human geography, all these types of topics there. So find yourself a bunch of different resources, and I'll give you some tips in a little bit later, but you want to start reading all different types of stuff, not just the news, not just novels. You want to read as many different types of things in English as possible. Okay? And it's also a more useful tool for more students. So there has been a bunch of really exciting articles come out in the United States in the last couple of weeks about how useful the SAT is at showing colleges whether or not you are ready to go to college. College is hard. Going to college in another country is even harder. I assume many of you guys want to come to the United States to go to college. It's a difficult transition. So colleges want to know that you are ready to go, that you're going to
Matthew, is everything all right? Your screen seems to have frozen. Are you with us? Everybody, don't worry. Matthew seems to be experiencing some technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll be back with us in a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, everything's perfect.
Cool.
Can everybody hear us well?
Cool. I'm going to turn off my camera. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier.
Of course, whichever works.
Can you still see the screen for the presentation? Great.
Yes, everything still looks wonderful.
Good. Then we're good to go. So I was rambling on, and I was saying that this tool is going to be the SAT is a really great tool to show colleges that you are ready for college, that you have the skills, and that you are going to be ready to read all kinds of things, whether it's mechanical engineering or whether it is American transcendental poetry. So that's the one point that I wanted to make about this. Give you guys a little bit of an idea about actually what is on this test, how long it is, what kind of questions there are, in case you didn't know. So here is the reading and writing section. There's no longer an essay on the test. It's just a reading and writing section. Even though it's called writing, you're not actually doing any writing. It's about like how you would reorganize things or how you would fix the grammar, where you would insert ideas or change them, how you would interact with the text, even though you're not writing it yourself. So one of the best parts about this test is that it's become much shorter. So it used to be 3 hours and now it's only 2 hours. And it used to be 96 total questions on the reading and writing section. And now it's only 54 questions, which gives you more time per question. But one of the interesting things is that in the past, we would give you one reading passage and you would have to answer several questions based on that one passage. And that one passage would be pretty long. So you might have to flip back and forth, kind of really understand and read through the big idea. A lot of students will be reading it very, very quickly, trying to get all the information. But now it's one question, one text. So that means that we're able to show you guys a lot more different types of texts in a shorter amount of time. So that's 54 different topics. That's Emily Dickinson. That is the geology of the Grand Canyon. That, I mean, truly, every time that you go to a new question, it's a totally different topic. So that's why we say when it's going to be a discrete question. And then on the math section, it's going to be less questions as well. It's only going to be 44 total questions. And you're going to have 70 minutes to be able to do that. And most of them are going to be multiple choice, but then some of them you're actually going to have to write in your answer. Okay? And the reason why this test is able to be a lot shorter is because it is a multi-stage adaptive test. And that means that for each of the two sections, the reading and writing section and the mathematics section, there are two parts. The first part, you're going to answer a bunch of different questions, and it's going to be a mixture of easy, medium, and hard questions. And then based on how well you do in the first section, you're going to be given something more specific to your level in the second module. So if you do really, really well, you're going to be given a more difficult level of questions. If you do less well on the first section, you're going to get kind of the easier section, easier questions. There are still a lot of overlap between the two sections. So there are some kind of middle range questions that you will get no matter what. Students ask me a lot, well, are all of the questions worth the same? Would it make sense for me to try to not do as well in the first module so that I can get every question correct in the second module? No, don't do that. The best way to get the best score is to answer as many questions right at all times. Okay? And then is there anything else that I want to see that's useful? Oh, the other thing that's really great about this means that when you're within the module, you can click around to any question and answer them in any order that you want. It makes it very, very comfortable and nice. Sometimes you can go and you can answer the questions that you feel comfortable with first, and then leave the harder ones to the end to give yourself a little bit more time. Maybe you feel less sure that you're going to get the right answer. Give yourself more time to think about it when you get to the end. Great. That's what I want to say about that. And then for the technology requirement, you guys are going to bring your own laptops or tablets to a test center. You're going to go to a school or to EducationUSA, maybe. I'm not sure if you guys have a test center there, but you're going to go someplace to be able to take this test. And you're going to bring your own laptop. And that laptop should be able to do 3 things. 1, it should have the app Blue Book, which I'll show you in a second what it looks like. It should have it downloaded onto your computer. 2, your computer should be able to hold a charge for 3 hours. So even though the test is only 2 hours, you should be able to give yourself an extra hour of buffer time so that you your computer is not dying on you in the middle of the test. And 3rd, it needs to be able to connect to Wi-Fi. Okay, this thing should be pretty obvious by now. Here's a couple more specifications. You guys don't have to worry about this. Okay, so I feel pretty confident. I've given you guys kind of a little bit of rundown. So now I want to talk to you about how to practice for the digital SAT. So like I said, all the resources we have are free and they all work together to be able to give you the best preparation for the exam. So the steps go like this. The College Board provides 2 things, and our official partner, Khan Academy, provides the other. College Board provides both the Blue Book app that you can go in and play around with and get comfortable with and understand, and then full-length practice tests. We offer 4 full-length practice tests, the exact same amount of questions and the exact same amount of time as the normal SAT test, that it's going to allow you to give you a score, and you can use that score to give yourself an idea of where you are and do you have, are you at the level that you want? How much more practicing do you need, et cetera, et cetera. And then once you've got a good sense of how you're doing on the test, what it is that you're understanding and what it is that you're still having issues with, you can then go over to Khan Academy. And Khan Academy has a really detailed tutorial about all of the topics and the subjects that come up on the digital SAT. And this is where you can come and really understand what it is that you understand and what it is that you don't understand, and to do what I like to call analytical studying, where you're not just doing a bunch of practice randomly, but instead you are thinking really clearly about what it is you know, what it is you don't know, and how to get from point A to point B, so that you can go back to these questions, and no matter what kind of math or English question they give you, you're going to have the skills you need in order to answer it correctly. Okay. The practice tests, like I said, there's 4 of them. You can review them once you've completed them, and you can see each question that you got right and each question that you got incorrect, so that you can then really get an idea for where it is that you need to work on. And then you can retake these tests as many times as you want. Also on the Blue Book app, it's very nice. There's a lot of really great tools that we've built into it to make it a very nice experience. One of them is that we have a graphing calculator. So you can bring a calculator to the exam if you'd like, but the graphing calculator is really nice. And it has all kinds of tools that'll be very useful to you that are going to really help you do better. For example, if you need to do the intersection point of 2 linear equations, you can just put those 2 equations right here and it'll actually show you the point itself. So you don't have to do this on paper, it does it for you. So I would definitely recommend that you test out the calculator. You see all the things that it can do. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. All the tools that it can do. Thank you. So that you feel comfortable and that you understand what are the tools that you already have provided, so you don't have to try to work it out manually with your hand. Then we also have this really nice tool, flagging and reviewing. Like I said, you don't have to answer every question exactly in order. If you want to come back to a question that you feel it was hard at a later point, you can mark it, and you can you can mark it, and then you can come back for it if you've got time at the end of the test. And then lastly, for the English section, we have a really nice annotation tool. So if you want to highlight a section, define a word, give yourself a little note, that's this thing here on the right. It gives you a really, really nice built-in tool to help you practice. Okay, I'm going to skip over this. I'll skip this too. Let's go to the next part that I wanted to go here. And that is to talk about Blue Book and to talk about the online practice. So, well, you can go right now online and you can download the app Blue Book. And I'm launching it right now. I have a Mac computer, so I'm downloading on this, but it's available on almost anything. So what you want to do is you're going to have a student account and you're going to sign in. And this is the same account that you use to register for the test. It's the same account that you do for looking at mysat.edu. And if you guys do any PSAT tests or any AP courses, this would be the same passage you have for that. So you sign in, and then it's going to take you to your custom place. And ta-da, this is what Blue Book looks like. This is where all the magic happens. So you can take SAT practice tests on the right one here. Like I said, there are 4 different SATs that you can practice. And then you can also do a test preview, which is a really nice way to go in here and understand how exactly this app is set up and what tools it has. How do you go from one question to the next? These questions, the directions at the beginning of the test, you want to read these ahead of time so that you really understand how the test works. And so you don't need to spend any time reading it on the test day of the actual test. And then you can also see exactly how long these reading and writing selections are. How long are they? What kind of information do they have? What kind of styles do they have? One of the things I think that you'll notice first is that they're pretty short, and they're definitely shorter than the questions on the reading and writing section used to be on the SAT. So this gives you a really nice thing. And like I said, let's say, for example, this is a question I'm having a very hard time with. I have no idea what the answer could be. I'm going to mark it for review. And then if I've answered these other ones here, I can see which questions I have answered, which questions I haven't, and I can go here to the review page and see what my progress is. So this is a very nice way to navigate around and understand where you are on the test, so you don't just have to take every single question in order, which I think is very nice and one of the advantages to having the test as we have it now. Okay. So once we do that, we can exit this exam. We can go take a full-length test. I was over here taking a full-length test. I've taken other ones in the past. But to give you a sense, here I am. Here's the first module, the first section. This is the one that's going to have a mixture of easy, medium, and hard questions. This one has 27 questions, and this gives me the amount of time that I'm going to have on the test. It's a real test. This is exactly what the SAT looks like. So I'm going to take a whole test. I'm going to kind of do it like a diagnostic. I'm just going to get a sense of like, where am I? What are my skills that I'm good at? What are the skills I need to practice with? And then you come over here next to mysat.collegeboard.org/login. And you log into your account. It's the same account that you have for Blue Book. And then it's going to give you a really nice dashboard where it's going to show you the practice tests that you have taken so that you can, where's my scores? Let's see. There should be my practice here. 1 second. There should be a part here where I'm able to see individually each question that I have if I've taken the practice test. Maybe it's cleared things out already from the last time that I had it, but it's going to give you a really nice rundown of all the questions that you've gotten correctly, all the questions that you have, and your score. So let's say, for example, I got a 1250 on the first practice test, and I'm trying to get a 1300. Well, I can see exactly how many more questions I need to get right. I can see exactly what kind of the score that I'm getting right now. You know, it's not like you're going to get a much higher score from one test to the next. They're all very carefully designed to be about the same score no matter what test it is that you're taking. So if you take a test, your first practice test, it's going to give you a pretty good picture of where it is that you're scoring already and give you a sense of like where it is that you need to be able to go next. So then you can go into these questions and you can see what are the issues that you're having problem with. I know, for example, right off the bat, I did not really understand polynomials very well when I was in high school. And that shows because as I've taken the SAT as an adult and I took a practice test, anytime that one of these polynomials questions came up, I didn't do very well. I didn't answer a lot of them. So rather than just saying, oh, you know, I was getting these hard SAT questions wrong, I'm going to say, no. What kind of questions I was getting wrong? I was getting polynomials wrong. That's something I just really understand. So then I'm going to go to the third step, which is I'm going to go to Khan Academy. And again, this is all free. And they have official digital SAT prep. And they have it broken up into the digital SAT math and digital SAT reading and writing. And then beyond that, even more useful for us, they have it broken down by skill. So you can see exactly where you are and where the issues that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out, so based on the questions that I got wrong when I practiced for the SAT, I'm going to find out what level I'm at with polynomials. How far back in these skills am I before I really don't feel comfortable? And that's where I'm going to start reviewing and relearning these skills so that I can feel more confident with them. So I'm going to go to advanced math. Hopefully you guys can see this. So here we are at advanced math. And these on the left side, I'm going to kind of see here, factoring quadratic and polynomial expressions. Cool. Okay. So this is maybe a lesson that would be useful for me because I don't remember exactly how polynomial expressions worked. And as we're on the topic, I definitely do not remember exactly how quadratic formulas work. If you were to ask me, what is the quadratic formula? To be honest, I couldn't tell you. What is it? What is it used for? Why is it something that we need to learn in high school? What are some of the daily uses that we have for the quadratic formula? These are not questions that I can answer for you. So that means analytically, I don't really understand this concept. This is something I need more time with. So I'm going to go in here to this advanced factoring quadratic and polynomial expressions, and I'm going to start reading this. I can even take a quiz, and I can see, okay, do I actually remember this? Can kind of test my level. Let me tell you guys right now, looking at this, w minus 3 to the 5th power minus w minus 3 to the 2nd power, I do not know what's going on. I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't know where to begin. Nothing is ringing a bell. I'm not remembering anything. Okay, let's be honest with myself. I am not at the advanced level of polynomial expressions. I need to go back further. So let's go back. I'm going to go back to, let's try medium advanced math. And here's factoring quadratic and polynomial expressions medium again. Okay, let's try this. Does this make me feel more comfortable? X squared plus 30x plus 200, which of the following is equivalent to the given expression? Okay, so I would want to factor this out. Okay. I think I'm remembering this a little bit. This is feeling a little bit more comfortable to me. I'm gonna use the hint. We can rewrite the expression as a product of two binomials. Ah, yes. Okay, yes. We're looking at A and B for the following, which A plus B is equal to the coefficient of. Okay, maybe I need another hint here. So this is really going to help remind me and jog my memory of where it is that I understand. But just in case I feel maybe this isn't the level of polynomial expressions that I'm at, maybe I need to go all the way back to the foundations of advanced math. And here are factoring quadratic formulas and polynomial expressions foundations. Let's just start from the beginning until I feel more comfortable. Maybe I just need to remind myself and refresh myself, and then I actually am at the medium level. But I'm going to start here, and I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to remind myself of where it is that I am with this. Does anybody, just for the sake of practice and because I truly have not done a really great job remembering math, can someone please tell me what the right answer is to this question?
I think B.
B? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to check this. Yeah, right. Correct. And then I'm going to enter this. Does anyone? Hopefully this is much easier for you guys than it is for me. My English, by the way, is great. I got a perfect score in English, but the math part, I definitely need to learn a little bit more about this. So I'll go with this, and then I need to actually write the answer.
Seven.
It's 7?
7, yeah.
You guys are the best. Check. That's also correct. I don't know how you got that so fast. Okay, I'm just going to put the wrong answer here just so you can see what it's like when I get one wrong. Okay, what is the right answer, guys?
C.
It's C.
It sounds like you guys don't need to practice for the math section of the SAT. Anyone guess for number 4?
A.
A.
A?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
A.
Perfect. So then this is it's almost like a game. It's gonna show me like, okay, if I was as smart as you guys on factoring quadratic and polynomial expressions, then I would feel good with this. Okay, I'm familiar, and then I could kind of move to the next step. And so what you're gonna do is, as you're going through all of this math section, you're gonna really be able to figure out where it is that you're stuck, where it is that the actual parts about this that are difficult for you, and where the part that you feel okay with. So I can get to the level where I need work, and then I can build from there, okay? That is how math works. That is also how the English part works. So the reading and writing has a similar thing. So if you guys feel like the reading and writing part, you can also do the same part where you're doing foundations, medium, and advanced. So go to advanced SAT, and you're going to see this is the hardest level of English language reading and writing that we're going to offer you in the test. And there are different types of skills that are in English. This isn't just like, okay, I'm good at English or I'm not good at English. No, there are specific skills that you can go in and understand more clearly. So command of evidence is a actual skill that you need to say. And if you go, okay, well, what exactly does that mean? Can you give me some examples? Yes, I can give you a literary example. I can give you a scientific example, and you can go through here and look at them and go, okay, I get a better understanding of what a textual command of evidence question is. I can do the same thing for a quantitative one. I can do one for central ideas and details, and I can do one for inferences, words in context, text structure and purpose, cross-text connections, transitions. These are all of the skills that we are covering in the reading and writing section of the SAT. One of the great things about this is as you feel more comfortable with these skills and you get a better sense of what they actually are, when you see a question on the SAT, on the reading and writing section, you're going to say to yourself, ah, this is a rhetorical synthesis question. I already know what kind of question this is, how it's asking me, what it is that it wants, and how I should approach the text this way. So rather than just saying, looking at an English question and saying, my English isn't good enough, I should just read it much more, you can actually go in and drill and understand exactly the different types of questions that we're asking you when it comes to reading and writing. Boundaries. You can even do a little bit of a unit test to get an idea of what it is exactly that you want to be able to understand this. I'm going to show you guys something also even more detailed because you guys strike me as the crowd that is extremely specific and wants to know exactly the best way to understand this test. So what you can do is you can also go to test specifications for the redesigned SAT. And this is basically the user manual for this exam. It's going to show you more details than you would ever want to know about exactly what is on the SAT. It is 200 pages long. It is crazy. But we can go here and you can see exactly what is on the SAT reading test. It's going to say exactly what it is and what it is that we're testing you. And then you can see this wonderful part here. This is exactly how many questions there are going to be based on each one of these skills. So we're going to ask you 21 questions that is about scientific analysis. We're going to ask you 21 questions that are history and social studies, 10 questions about command of evidence, and 10 questions of words in context. So as you go to Khan Academy, you can break down and you can see exactly what types of questions there are on here. You can also look like, are you a student that feels really comfortable with the sciences? You got a really great, you understand biology, you understand physics, you understand chemistry. You feel really, really strong with that? Okay. Well, maybe you need to spend more time reading history and social studies. Maybe you should read a history about the history of Latin America. Maybe you should read an article about some of the latest developments in sociology. You kind of focus on the things that are the trouble areas for you. And the way that you know that is by understanding the actual specific domains and topics that are within this test. Okay? There's going to be graphics. There's going to be text complexity. You can see all kinds of a breakdown of exactly what's going to be in this test. We're going to talk to you about what words and context actually means. We're going to talk to you, give you examples of what words and context actually means. We're going to explain to you exactly what command of evidence means and give you examples for this. So rather than feeling as though the test on the English reading and writing section is just a bunch of difficult things, you're going to start to really recognize and understand specifically what these difficult skills are. And that's going to help you understand much more deeply what's on there so that you're much more prepared for the test when it comes around, okay? Some great examples of some of the graphs that we're going to asking you, some stuff about text complexity. So this really gets into the weeds. I think sometimes if you really want to understand the details, you can go here, but you're mostly going to get everything that you need in terms of the actual skills by looking at Khan Academy and going through here and seeing what do we mean by command of evidence? What is a textual evidence question? Give an example, go through this. You guys can spend a lot of time on here, and it's going to really map out for you very clearly where you're at, what you need to do, and how you can get better, okay? And Alexander has a question that's very much about this. How many hours a week should I practice? Which parts need more attention than others? The answer, Alexander, is that every single person is different. You should take a practice test, and you should see which skills you feel very comfortable and confident with, and which skills that they're not getting a lot of questions right, and that you should be spending more time on. So for an example, when I prepared for the GRE, which is like the graduate school example, I spent no time preparing for the English section because when I took a practice test, I got a perfect score. It was not something I needed to spend any time with. I feel very comfortable with the English language. I am very good at reading and writing. And thank goodness I am, because I had a lot of work to do on the math section. As you guys saw today, it is not my strong suit. So I'm not going to spend any time on the English section. I don't need to worry about getting a better grade. I need to spend all of my practice time on the math section. And then when I'm in the math section, I don't want to be practicing on a bunch of easy questions that I know I'm going to get right, that I don't need to worry about it. I need to be spending time on the actual things that I don't understand. And the way that I'm going to get there is by going through Khan Academy and my questions on my practice SAT and really nailing it down. And I'll tell you right now, if I look at the digital SAT practice and I look at the math here, problem solving and data analysis, if it's a question about trends in data, or I'm trying to pick out some information on a graph, I work with Excel all the time. I feel pretty comfortable with that. I also remember algebra pretty well, and I pretty much remember geometry. The reason why I chose quadratic formulas and polynomials as my example is because it's the number one thing that if I spent 20 hours teaching myself, really reading about what these concepts are, what is it that they're looking, maybe I'll even go to YouTube and I'll watch a video. Let's go. Let's see. YouTube. And I'm just going to ask straight up, what is the quadratic formula used for? I'm going to teach myself, and I'm going to go to a bunch of different used for. I'm going to go to a bunch of different resources, and I'm going to really try to wrap my head around these things. Quadratic formulas in everyday life. Yes, this is exactly what I want. I know for me personally, things make a lot more sense, and I have a better time learning them and understanding them when I understand how they're being used in real life. So this woman, she's a mathematician. See, this is great. Perfect. This is going to be so much more helpful for me understanding the quadratic formula and putting it together and teaching myself than me just taking 50 quadratic formula questions and getting them all wrong. That's not a good use of my time. It's a much better use of my time to try to understand these concepts, learn them, truly feel confident and comfortable with them. That's the best use of my time. And what you can do is I can spend 10 hours learning the quadratic formula and polynomials. I can spend 10 hours reading many more questions that have to do with history and social sciences on the reading and writing section. And then I can go back and take another practice test, and I can see exactly how much better I did. Compared to the last time, what is my score on the reading and writing section, and what is my score on the math section? Is it making a difference? Have I gotten to where I wanted to go for the school that I want to go into? If I want to go to Duke University, is my SAT score high enough now that I'm set? If I need another 50 points and I need another 50 points in math, well, it sounds like maybe I should get a little bit farther, and I should also really understand how polynomial equations work. I should also really understand words in context better. So you can pick skills specifically that you want to improve. You can learn them. You can wrap your head around them. You can go to Wikipedia. You can go to YouTube. And then you can just get a much better understanding of them. And then skill by skill, level up and understand how to get a better score. So do not just take 20 practice SAT tests. That is not a good use of your time. Do identify which skills that you do not yet master, understand what they are, understand what level you're at, understand the things that you're still having difficulty with, recognize your approach to learning, and then teach yourself, and then have your teachers help you as well. I'm sure your teachers in school will be more than happy to sit down with you and to go with these specific skills. If you said, hey, I would love if we could go over some social science text together, and you could really show me how the words in context are working, I'm sure they'd be happy to do that with you. But the more specific you can be about what it is that you know and what you don't know, the better use of your time, and the more strategic you're going to be when you practice for this test. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? Because that is my best advice.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for such a fantastic session and for truly wonderful tips and strategies that you've shared today with our students. I see a question from Katya. So Katya is wondering, can we change the answer on the test when we have already submitted it?
Once you've submitted it, no. So each module, so there's basically 4 modules in the test. There's 2 in the English reading writing section and then 2 in the math section. When you get to the end of the module and you still have 2 minutes left and you have flagged something like, I wasn't 100% sure about this question, that's your last chance to check it. And check it well and make sure, but then you submit it, then that's the last time you're going to see it.
Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you to Katya for reaching out. I would just like to encourage once again our lovely students to please not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help you and assist you on your journey. And I actually have a question of my own, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I get a lot of students asking about getting a request for a device, and is it at all possible if they do not possess a laptop or an iPad that corresponds to the requirements for the SATs? Can they request it from the testing center, and what would that procedure be like?
So in most cases, it's going to be way easier for you to borrow something from a friend, from your uncle. That's going to be the easiest way for you to order to get a device. We feel pretty confident that people all around the world have access to this. If you genuinely have your school can't provide a device, you don't know anybody who has a device, you will apply online through the test center. So when you apply to the test center, you will say to them, I do not have a device, I want to apply for it. And then the test center is going to apply on your behalf for it. And we're gonna need to see some documentation that proves that, like, you genuinely don't have any access to this and that you genuinely have a need for it. But yes, we guarantee that if it is actually impossible for you to get any access to a device, we will provide it somehow.
Thank you so much for your reply. And we've got another question from Daria. So Daria is wondering, where can I find practice tests or practice papers to train a bit?
Mm-hmm. So Blue Book, you're going to want to download it on your computer or your tablet. That's your #1 stop for both practicing the format of the test and for 4 full-length practice tests. I feel pretty confident that you do not need more than 4 practice tests if you're studying in the way that I'm recommending. I would feel very concerned if you took 15 practice tests. I do not think that's a good use of your time. After you take 1 practice test, you have so much information that's going to give you the next months of about where it is that you need to go. You should look at all of your answers, all of your correct answers, all your incorrect answers, and you should write down a list of all of the skills that you have not yet perfected. If you got every single question right in words and context, then don't study it. But if you got no questions right when there was a word and context question, that's your homework assignment, and that's where you need to be going. And then you need to go to Khan Academy. There's more than enough stuff there for you that you only need 4 practice tests, and you got everything that you need on Khan Academy and on the web and on the internet.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for such an informative answer. I guess the final question on my part would be one about fee waivers. And is it at all possible to receive a fee waiver for the SATs? And how would students go about applying for such a waiver?
Yeah, so it is possible, and you would want to also apply for the through your school, I believe. They're going to want to let's see here. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the right information. I do believe that you will apply like through your school, but it is possible for international students, but there is kind of a process where you have to go through. And yeah, usually you want to talk to your school counselor about the process for a fee waiver.
Thank you so much for your reply. And once again, Daria, thank you so much for reaching out. We'll be sure to share the resources with you after the session, as well as the recording of today's meeting, so that you can get the most out of it and really take your time preparing and making sure you're successful on the exam. To the rest of our students, I would just like to reach out. Do you have any questions? We're here to answer you and to assist you on your journey. You can just unmute your mic and speak up. It also would be perfect, of course. Yes, Anastasia, I see you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello everyone. And first I want to thank you for this lecture, because it was really informative and I've discovered new ways for preparing. And I have a question: is preparing for the IELTS exam using special books, is it effective? And if yes, can you recommend some books for preparation?
Unfortunately, Victoria is probably going to be a better resource than me, because the College Board doesn't work with the IELTS exam, so I don't know much about it.
Yes, so I will just take up your question, Anastasia. Thank you so much for reaching out. And I'll be sure to share after today's session some resources you can use to prepare for the IELTS, as well as materials by our lovely collaborators at British Council, who are going to once again talk about in-depth resources and materials you can use for preparation. Lisa, I see your hand up. Please, do you have a question?
Sorry. I've just messed up. Not IELTS, but SAT. Sorry, Lisa, for bothering you.
Of course, Anastasia. So when it comes to the SATs, you can, of course, use some paper textbooks. But as Matthew has mentioned, I believe the Blue Book app is the best resources for you to really get ready and prepare, as well as, of course, Khan Academy. Matthew, would you like to add maybe anything?
Yeah, also, you know, the format of the test has changed. If you're finding a paper example, it's usually going to be something from a few years ago, and some of the skills have a little bit changed, so it might not be the most up-to-date as well. And if it's something you feel more comfortable with, that's one thing, but also just know that this test is going to be on a computer as well. So the more practice that you can get feeling comfortable with a computer, the better. That being said, if you have identified a specific skill, so for me, I would go polynomial equations. I spent a lot of time on Khan Academy. Okay, I think I understand the concept. I just need a lot of practice now. I'm not going to find a bunch of SAT practice. I'm going to find a lot of polynomial worksheets. And there are all kinds of stuff that you can find online. So, or if you need to practice more social science reading, then you need to go to the internet and look up articles, scholarly articles about social science and things like that. So find resources. They're just not necessarily going to be SAT ones. They're going to be more specific to the actual skills it is that you're trying to work on.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Anastasia, for your question. And Lisa, we're really sorry for interrupting you. Please speak out. Which question do you have? So while Lisa is maybe struggling a bit with the internet connection, I see a question from Maria. So Maria is wondering, where can I book the test? So the SATs, I believe.
Yep. So you can just go right on our website on College Board. You can just Google like register for the SAT test, and you can register online. And you can
Yes.
also register through the Blue Book.
Yes, Maria, thank you so much for your question. And after this session, I will, of course, be sure to provide the resources so that you can really explore the College Board website and see which test-taking dates are available so that you can make the most out of the time you have to prepare. So a final call for questions. Does anybody else have any questions that we haven't addressed yet?
Hi. Something happened with my internet connection. I'm so sorry. I just wondering if our device runs out of power, can we connect it to a power bank or put it on charge and continue writing the test?
Yes. So if the test center doesn't have to supply electricity, but oftentimes they do, especially if it's a school that already uses laptops in its school. So I have seen many people bring power and they just plug in there at the test, and that's okay. They can't guarantee it, so that is a risk if you have a computer that can't take it. But I have seen many students actually just plug in and use their computer with the charge.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for a great question. And thank you to everybody for being so active today. It was such a pleasure to chat with you and once again to help you learn more about the SATs. If you still have any questions, please feel free to reach out or sign up for a free consultation with one of our lovely advisors. We are here to help you and assist you on your journey to US study. And of course, after today's session, I will be sure to provide the resources Matthew has mentioned so that you can take a look at them yourselves and explore all the possibilities for preparing and improving your skills that you have available to you. Matthew, do you have any final words of encouragement for our students?
Best of luck to you guys, and make sure that you think outside of the box when you're studying, because the more that you are not just staring at a page and that you're actually thinking actively about how to study, the better you're going to do.
Yes, I second that, and I know that all of you can really show impressive results on the SATs and make sure you get into the school of your dreams if you believe in yourself and keep working. We would love to see you at our next session. Actually, tomorrow we've got a meeting on studying STEM in the United States, so we would love to see you there. And above all, I wish you the best of luck in the application process, and I know that all of you are going to achieve your dreams if you work hard and persevere. I wish you the best of luck, stay safe, and stay with Education USA. Bye!
Bye, everybody.